Here's how we use variables and repeaters to capture a large amount of dynamic data from the multi-carrier shipping label flow and use it to populate various parts of the widgets and the footer and the home page. So the home page is blank now because we haven't started a flow. Let's turn on the variable display and then go through a flow and see how that works. Right now the variables on the left are not populated. But if I type in some data and go down the page, I'm going to start to see variables populate on the left. So now we've captured a name and the current carrier. And if we go in and give the box data, we can see those captured on the left as well. So now we have weight information captured, and it's the same for services. As we choose these different services, the variables are captured for the service choice, and they also populate the footer. But if you decide to change the carrier, for instance to FedEx, now we've taken away some of the information in the footer because we're going to make a different service selection, and that will populate the footer again. So now if for some reason we want to go back to USPS, we need to know what the previous choice was. So all the dynamic service data captured in the variables are used to be able to go from carrier to carrier. So now if I choose UPS and then I want to go back to FedEx, it'll remember that and it'll put it in the footer. And if I go to USPS, it'll remember that. So the variables make it possible to get through this flow and keep the footer updated and keep the service widget updated. Now if I print and go back to the home page, this information also makes it available to display the service I chose. This gets even better if I go through multiple flows, because we have the ability to capture multiple flows in our variables and use those to populate the home page with live data. So if I select Today AM FedEx and then I print this and go back to the home page, there's the label. It remembered Jane Smith, but it also remembered not only my current FedEx choice, but also my previous flow choice. If I go through this one more time, it'll actually do it again. And this is a lot of data. This is probably more data than Axure is typically asked to store in its variables. Also, variables get hard to manage because there's just so many of them. If you're trying to keep global variables for every piece of data for every flow. So now we're back on the home page, and it's remembered the names and the services and a lot of details. And the way we do this is, if we go down the variable list here, we're actually creating a single large complex variable with delimiters for each flow. When you get to the home page, each of those large flow variables is parsed out. And here you can see the string method is actually quite simple. Just looks for delimiters in the string method, pulls that out, and populates data on the home page.